Hello, cutie patooties. Today we are going to be doing Unit 6, Week 2, Lesson 8. We are still on our determining theme aspect of Up Against the Wild. We are going to be analyzing the character of Buck and comparing his actions to other characters and trying to figure out his experiences and how he reacts to his experiences. So, main question of the day is, how is Buck different from and similar to the main characters and other selections you have read in this unit? We're just going to reread paragraphs 1 and 8, so only two different paragraphs. How does the author's use of language, so like that means using certain words, in these paragraphs establish the challenge that Buck faces? So we're going to look for words that help us understand the challenge in which Buck finds himself. How does his response help reveal the story's theme? As you read, underline words or phrases that describe Buck and his actions. So we're going to have to underline as we read. Here's the chart we're filling out. We're going to be using text evidence, citing evidence, the challenges he faces, and then how he responds. When you're done with that, for your writing today, you're going to be writing just one paragraph, 5 to 7 sentences. How is Buck different from and similar to the main characters, using the evidence you have found above? Okay, so we need to go over and reread paragraphs 1 and 8 over in our text for close reading. The Law of Club and Fame, once again, this is an excerpt from The Call of the Wild, which you can read the entire book of, and now you have a movie to watch, a live action movie. Okay, paragraph 1. Buck's first day on the Daya Beach. Oh, I need to get my highlighter out. Make sure I'm going to do maybe like a yellow. Okay. And I'm describing the challenges he's facing. Buck's first day on the Daya Beach was like a nightmare. Ooh. Okay. Every hour was filled with shock and surprise. Every hour, shock and surprise. He had been suddenly jerked from the heart of civilization and flung into the heart of things primordial. Ooh, primordial, there's a little number 1. Primordial means primitive. So things that don't really have structure and order, just have whatever nature does. No lazy sun-kissed life was this, with nothing to do but loaf and be bored. Here was neither peace nor rest nor a moment's safety. So, neither peace nor rest nor a moment's safety. All was confusion and action. Every moment, life and limb were in peril. Limb were in peril. Peril means like danger. There was imperative need to be constantly alert. These dogs and men were not town dogs and men. They were savages, all of them, who knew no law but the law of club and fame. So that's the challenge Buck finds himself in. Okay, so let's go back over to our Unit 6, Week 2. And we're going to be typing in, basically in our own words, Buck is in a new place. It's a new life that's like a nightmare. All is confusion and action. He's surrounded by savages. He's the new dog on a sled team, and he doesn't know what to do. So that's paragraph 1. So let's go find paragraph 8, how Buck responds. Back over here. I'm going to go ahead and save this before I turn over to the next page. 2 pages. Paragraph 8. All righty. Get my highlighter out. And we're looking for how Buck responds to the challenge. So he's in the middle of this new place. It's a nightmare of savages. There's only the law of club and fame. How does he respond? Though his dignity was sorely hurt by thus being made a draw animal. Okay, so his dignity, his pride was hurt. He's like, he was too wise to rebel. Oh, too wise to rebel. He buckled down. Oh, I can't see what that says there. With a will. Okay. He buckled down with a will and did his best. If he's buckling down, he's like, I'm going to do this, and did his best. Though it was all new and strange, Francois was stern, demanding instant obedience, and by virtue of his whip, receiving instant obedience. While Dave, who was an experienced wheeler, nipped Buck's hindquarters whenever he was in air. Spitz was the leader, likewise experienced, and while he could not always get at Buck, he growled sharp reproof now and again, or cunningly threw his weight into the traces to jerk Buck into the way he should go. Okay, so down here, this doesn't say anything about how Buck is responding to the challenge, so it's important that I didn't highlight anything through here. This was just describing more of what Buck is experiencing. These few sentences up here tell how Buck is feeling and what he does. Even though like he's like, oh, I'm now having to be made this like pole animal, I don't want to. He's too wise to rebel. So he responds in this really smart way. He just goes, you know what? I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to be whipped with the whip. I'm going to do it. So we have to go over, save this, and we're going to type that. How Buck responds. So even though Buck doesn't want to be made into a draught animal, and then we're going to go over here to our text evidence. He's too wise to rebel. He buckles down and does his best. So over here, doesn't mean a draught animal, and his pride is sorely hurt. Buck decides to do his best, and back over here, buckle down, and buckle down to work as hard as he can. Okay, even though Buck doesn't want to be made to a dry animal and his pride is sorely hurt, Buck decides to do his best and buckle down to work as hard as he can. And that was paragraph 8. So what does this mean about Buck? The fact that he's buckling down and he's working as hard as he can, even though he's surrounded by savages. Well, when we determine story theme, we're looking for words or phrases that really describe what the author's trying to tell us. So the character, in this case, Buck, he does things, he describes how he's feeling. We know his pride is wounded. He's like, oh, I don't want to be here. But his action says he's going to do this. He's doing his best. So what does that show? I know that shows a lot of strength. It shows accepting the things you can change, or accepting the things you can't change, and looking forward to things you can. There's a lot of hard work in there. These are just some words that can describe theme. It's a message the author wants to send us because of the things that Buck does. You can't have a story theme without also explaining what the character does to show the story theme. So that's what you're doing down here. You need to describe what Buck does, the fact that he shows strength and courage and determination, and he's being really smart, that he's deciding not to resist. He's trying not to rebel. Ooh, we might want to add that. To do his best. And what's the phrase they use over here? Too wise to rebel. So we need to say that. Do his best. He is too wise to rebel. And buckle down to work as hard as he can. So you describe that down here, and then you also explain. Because we have Meg, who in Brushfire, who takes her kids and leaves. Her husband decides to stay. Thinking about what she does. her theme of kind of like, I'm gonna protect my children. I'm gonna do what needs to be done. Ooh, that kind of sounds similar to what Buck is saying. And then also describing Androcles and the lion. What does he do with the lion? Well, we've had similar discussions about how he's showing bravery and courage and kindness. Bravery, courage, and kindness to help the lion, and then he's helped in return. So thinking about Androcles and Meg, that is the two people we are comparing Buck against. How is Buck different from and similar to the main characters? Type that in, Androcles and Meg, and the other selections you've read in this unit. Use text evidence. Make sure the other prompt is up here. There is a challenge activity on here. Imagine that Buck had responded differently by refusing to pull the sled by snapping and biting at Francois and the other dogs. What might have happened to Buck and why? So you can just type it down below. Okay, that's the Unit 6, Week 2, Lesson 8 for today. Thinking about theme and comparing characters.